Hey, it's Monday night. You know what that means. Another episode of AEWDARK Elevation has concluded. Couple of interesting debuts. The up-and-coming, unsigned, promising future wrestlers of the business brought some really good action tonight and have definitely continued to grow over time. And there's been some interesting developments in general regarding talent, I believe, for Dynamite. So let's go ahead and get right into it. But first off, everybody, hello, good evening, good morning, good night to you all whenever you may watch this. My name is Noah Foster, and I'm just a simple man and a lifelong fan of wrestling in all of its forms, whether you've seen it or not. And I'm here to give you my simple review and outlook / what I like to call my simple take on this week's episode of AEW Dark Elevation. And this is being recorded at 9:28 p.m. on Monday night, May 10th. With that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. Our opening contest was between a very game David Ali and up-and-comer representing the Nightmare Family, Big Shotty Lee, aka Lee Johnson. These two had a very good competitive bout. David Ali, who's only, I think, is a sixth match now under the AEW banner, has really come far and really showed out tonight. These two basically started out and looked like maybe they have mutual respect. David Ali, he tries to go for the early advantage. And as he tries to get the better of Lee Johnson, stiff first shot, and then literally caught with a shot out of midair. But David Ali, he countered that. There was some good back and forth action here. Both men were not afraid to go to the skies, take high risk. A near fall off a Michinoku driver for David Ali, who had a couple of good spots here. But in the end, David Ali, he could not overcome the drive that is Big Shotty Lee. I know, confusing, right? Lee Johnson, as Lee Johnson did win with what is being called the Blue Thunder Bomb. Very different outlook compared to what I think about with that move being called, as he literally packaged him and basically hit his neck over the knee and covered him for the 1, 2, 3. A very good showing by both and a standout strong performance by David Ali. I feel like with David Ali's attitude, he can basically go on a run like Lee Johnson did during Dark on his way to his first win. He actually might be stronger as a singles competitor versus a tag team competitor, in my opinion. This was a great start to the show. So moving on from there, we go into our next match and we get some real smash mouth action as a veteran, 19 years in the game, Eddie Kingston, he takes on VSK. Recently coming off, I might add, his Impact Wrestling debut against ELP. Congratulations to him. VSK, of course, who still was looking for his first win here. He brought some high risk and attempted to try and outsmart Eddie Kingston, it seemed at times, because he couldn't win the striking game, clearly. There was a nice Virgo suspension suplex one point in the match. Eddie Kingston holding up VSK for, I think, about 8 to 10 seconds. And a nasty backstabber counter to the spinning back elbow. I forget the name of that move that Eddie Kingston calls it. But as a VSK could not get the win here, he tries to go off for broke, goes for a top rope splash, ends up crashing, which simply allowed the veteran Eddie Kingston to be aware of his surroundings and the state of his opponent and simply catch VSK with a roll-up win. I like that VSK was not afraid to take risk here, but I think he got a little bit full of himself. I think if he kept more Eddie Kingston grounded, it seemed like that's where he was garnering the advantage, because you're not going to win a striking game against someone as tough and gritty as Eddie Kingston. But this was some pretty good stuff. Moving on from there, we got tag action as Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page continue to demonstrate what they are in their own status quo as they took on the duo of Fuego del Sol and Baron Black. Happy to know Baron Black's okay. Baron Black's okay from what happened last week on AEW Dark, I believe, with Nick Camarado. That was nasty. Yeesh. And apparently Ethan Page really likes Scorpio Sky's theme, but who doesn't? Maybe he can go on lip sync battle and sing that. Eddie Kingston, quite the showman. Or botch. Ethan Page, quite the showman. I'm tired, folks, all right? It's been super hot, too, and I just got done working out. Anyway, as this match started going off here, Baron Black was in the early going here. He kind of was being isolated for the most part by the tag vets in Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, who really have come to gel well together as a tag team. And as Scorpio Sky was getting the better of Baron Black, Ethan doing his best impression of either a blind man or a hindered wrestler. There was a nice moonsault, though, into attempted tornado DDT after Fuego del Sol got the hot tag, because for the small portion of this match did go for, Baron Black basically took the blunt of the offense. finally got the hat attack. Figure the soul, you're hoping for the tornado DDT. He goes for after a nice over the top moonsault, taking out both men. It gets denied immediately, and next thing you know, Ethan sets him up for his finisher, the Ego's Edge. You know, the Razor Edge, free throw, power bomb. Ouch. And literally, that's all she wrote. Scorpio Sky, Isolate, Baron Black, and that's Apron, and literally count along with the ref. 1, 2, 3. As this team continues to roll and is currently undefeated in AEW. I know people are just begging for Fuego del Sol to finally get that singles win, and everybody loves the man that is the innovator of the Tornado DDT, one of the best lucha libre out of Mexico. I feel his day would come, but it just wasn't happening here. And I kind of was hoping for more from Baron Black, but I get it. He's probably recovering from what happened last week, probably not all fully there. I'm just glad that he's okay. Anyway, as we move on from there, we go into this week's what they like to call showcase, where we learn more about the talent being showcased, no pun intended, on AEW Dark Elevation, what brought them here, what brought them to the industry, what pushes them, what motivated them, what inspired them. As this week, we got a look into the Rey de Papi, who of course was involved in tonight's main event with Jon Moxley, Danny Limelight. Danny Limelight goes basically through about what his childhood was like, his initial outlook, what he saw, what he was interpreted as. And it was that interpretation of him that drive him to prove people wrong, to stand out, stand up, and really stand against those who think you can't do this. As he served not only as a Marine, even though they were thinking, you don't belong here, you should go to the Army. He proved them wrong. Thank you, sir, for serving our country. God bless you. And of course, he wants to stand out as a continued role model for his family. Talks about what encouraged him in professional wrestling when he actually started training and how his outlook from his military background kind of went into his drive to go into professional wrestling. He is simply saying that the hardest part about being a wrestler is staying consistent and drive on through. Summary of this whole thing, though, folks, he just wants to prove that he is the best, most dedicated, hardworking, innovative professional wrestler in the game today, and just lead by example for his family, especially his daughter. I have nothing but tremendous respect for Danny Limelight, who for me has been a standout since his showing on NJPW Strong. I liked how it was John Hannigan, you might know him as John Morrison. It started off with them working together on a movie together where he did all his stunts. Next thing you know, John got him a way to get a audition into NJPW, and he came out of Strong and Team Filthy eventually. And then, of course, eventually he got the call for AEW, and he's been basically going up ever since and been able to really showcase what he wants to be and what he does bring on live TV. And it's a beautiful thing. Again, dedicated, driven, and certainly still growing. The sky's the limit, I feel, for Danny Limelight. Thank you so much, sir, for your story, your service, and most importantly right now, what you bring in, your professional wrestling. Keep growing. Don't let up. Respect. I love this and how that Paul White really brings us closer to the future wrestlers of the industry. And really, he has history on too, as they two did met before. So this was definitely my most favorite segment of the night, because as someone who just loves pro wrestling, I love following the industry, seeing who can grow out and stand out. For me, it's not always about the top name, the top draw, the biggest player in the game, the only people you really should think about or know, the one with the gold, etc. There are those hidden gems and rising up and comers and motivated stars. Might just be a simple person you know or a friend next door for all you know. That could be the next big thing in professional wrestling. And it's something to admire. Shout out, of course, two of my great friends I've come to know in both Becca and Montserrat, who I know currently are training to be professional wrestlers. I wish them nothing but the best in their pursuit and journey. Of course, Mont, I know, being trained by one of my all-time favorites in Dustin Rhodes, Natural, at Rhodes Wrestling Academy. Don't let up, keep stepping. Anyway, as we move on from there back into action, we get women's action. And what a great handful of women's matches tonight. We start off with Renee Michelle, who took on one of the best in the world, Thunder Rosa. This match was very impressive to me. Renee Michelle, you brought a hell of a fight. A good, strong showcase of technical wrestling and strength. In the early going, Renee Michelle literally getting the bridging reverse / chancery and flexing twice during it, locking Thunder Rosa in place with a head blow. As I learned, Tony Schiavone called it, Karat facebuster, though, definitely put the match back in Renee Michelle's favor, delivering some nice step-by-step, it seemed, paced, progressive, fought-out offense, trying to isolate and slow down Thunder Rosa. Double underhook suplex, by Thunder Rosa though, but then followed by Renee with a suplex bridge into a nice near fall. Both these ladies were constantly bringing it, not really letting up on each other. At one point, Renee Michelle was caught up in the corner, and she did, of course, eat hesitation drop kick by Thunder Rosa. But what was interesting is at the end, it was like Renee Michelle goes off the ropes, goes into Thunder Rosa. I think Thunder Rosa is setting up maybe for her Thunder Fire driver. No. And it just goes to show Thunder Rosa constantly evolving and improving. There's a reason why she's one of the best in the world and #2 ranked in AEW. She pulls out a brand new submission move. It was almost like she was compressing the vertebrae and the neck between her legs in what looked like a overhead pinning combination, but no, it was submission. And it was like a interesting, what was it, brilliant choke, bulldog choke? I have to look it up, folks. My apologies. But immediate submission win, pinning down her opponent's neck, literally, I think, preventing her breathing, and she had nowhere to go while adding pressure to the arms too. A very innovative finish that I did not expect to see tonight. And again, Renee Michelle, very good fought out match. She definitely has continued to progress in her in-ring game. And honestly, I would love to see these two go at each other again and see if there would be a different result. This was really good stuff. But again, Thunder Rosa, she continues to move forward, where obviously her aspirations are to eventually get gold. We'll talk more about that later, as this is not the only time we saw Thunder Rosa tonight. We heard from her later too. Speaking of hearing from people, we got some real talk later on by Eddie Kingston following this match, actually, where he basically called out the Bucks for their identity, their value of character, how they went up and down the same roads together, but they changed because they sold out to this ultimate carny fool, in case you've seen a lot of them, in Don Callis, and run with their boy Omega because they got scared. But he said for him that if you're trying to take me out because you might be jealous of who I am still or fear me, you're going to have to literally kill me, because this is it. This is my last stop. And if you guys are going to try and take down this company, I'm going to go down with the ship, but I ain't going down easy. And also, so they alluded to Renee and Moxley being busy, and Renee having a baby on the way. Congrats again to them. This was a really good passion promo. I tell you, when Eddie Kingston talks, you freaking listen. That is one of the most passionate, straight to the point talkers in the game. And when he says something, he means it. Respect. I'm curious to see what's next for Eddie Kingston and John Moxley come against the Elite. Of course, I know they're also involved in Dark too, and I'll give you a preview of the Dark card shortly too, based on what I found. Thank you, Fightful. Anyway, as we move on from there, the Best Friends, represented by Chuck Taylor, the Kentucky Gentleman. He was in singles action, while the rest of the Best Friends crew was, of course, in his corner, taking on one Very Morales. Apologies if I screw up that name. And again, this was a pretty short, simple match. Very Morales, though, he tried to demonstrate some high-risk offense. And in the early going, he did get a nice over-the-top rope move. But then as he was trying to fall up and run into the corner for Chuck Taylor, his face is met with a rising knee strike. Ouch. And then following this, it was all she wrote with that sit-down pile driver, the ugly waffle, as Chuck calls it. And the Kentucky Gentleman gets it done good. And of course, afterwards, you gotta give the people what they want. As of course, we literally had the four come together in the middle of the ring with a hug. Gotta love it. Good stuff. Barry Morales, he got to show us that he's not afraid to take risk here in that singles action. I kind of wanted to see more of his striking game, but he was going for a different approach here. But again, he got a little bit too full of himself. Chuck, well aware, knocked his face out and then pretty much set him up for his finisher. So I can only hope that Barry Morales learns from that experience. Good try, though. Good stuff. Anyway, as we move on from there, we go into legit fights as legit Layla Hirsch takes on the real mean girl, Jandy Jordan. And both these fine amateur wrestlers definitely brought what they are, as this was a very good match. In the early going, though, it looked like Jandy Jordan was trying to go for the mat game. Not the best idea against somebody that literally can take you out with a cross arm breaker. But I kind of like how she was trying to slow her down and isolate her. However, once legit Layla Hirsch got up and rolling, and these two are literally trying to exchange each other move for move, that ridiculous suplex, the way she pops her hips, bang! And of course, Layla wearing those shoe boots, so you know, oh yeah, she's ready to fight. Literally, we get a suplex and a roll-up kick that was stiff. But kudos to Jenny Doran, who survived what really was the first real near fall of the match. I think it was the first fall of the match, too. As the two kept it changing move for move, blow for blow, Danny Jordan gets a couple of good offensive counters in, tries to pull off a nice near fall, but legit later she finds a way out. As these two get back up together in the middle of the ring, we get a stiff exchange, test your might, as these two are trading forearm shivers at this point. And it looked like that Danny Jordan might have gotten better, especially when she stepped in with that one shot, having more of a open base, I feel like, with her background and her stance, by the way, too. But again, all it takes, one false missed opportunity. Legit Layla got her, took her down and over, crossbar, immediately tap out. But Danny Jordan, a very aggressive effort taken against the legit one here, as legit Layla Hirsch continues to roll and Danny Jordan continues to grow. I enjoyed this match. And Danny Jordan's one of those that's been a standout for me since, again, I saw her first on A Squared Circle. I also remember when my friend Mark Griffith and Chris Mace, they interviewed her on a brief interview for the YouTube channel. Go check that out, folks. The real mean girl, not so much focused on what's in her burn book, but how much she can burn her opponent in the ring, physically and verbally. And I thought that her and Layla, they had some good chemistry together. I felt that the downfall here, though, was as soon as you went for the striking game and you let yourself open with a missed opportunity, she grabbed the arm and that was it. Because again, as soon as Layla grabs your arm, you best have the ropes near you or you're pretty much done for, because that arm breaker, yeesh. And I know Diamante Pryor was watching, because I know those two aren't doing it to her either. Again, awesome contest, though. Legit Layla Hirsch keeps rolling, as I'm sure her and Rhea want to continue to roll as a tag team. But Danny Jordan, she continues to grow and learn. And I feel she's on the verge of her first victory sooner than later. Great stuff. As we move on from there, we go into a backstage type of promo with Dasha, as she's with Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, who talked about their win. They were gloating about what they did, even talking about his new striking exchange in the corner. But they also are kind of talking about what they demonstrate versus what Darby Allin and Sting demonstrates. And of course, their eyes are set on Darby Allin, and more particularly that title, as they wish Darby Allin the best of luck. They'll be watching, as Darby Allin will be defending the TNT title 90%, 80%, whatever percent or not, against Miro. So again, are we on the verge of a new TNT champion? Is there something bigger here that meets the eye? We'll have to wait and see. And I feel like there's a tag team match coming, but again, still a couple weeks out till AEW Double or Nothing, where only one match has been made official. Just saying. Anyway, as we move on from there into singles action, we have Matt Sydal. He takes on in singles action a debuting Manny Smith. And I was wondering what this young up-and-comer with a football background, it seems by his look, would do against the what I would call the guru of yoga. Well, there was a nice, ironically, shoulder forward / football stance and tackle at one point that put the match into Manny's favor in the near end going. Effective tackle. He tries to capitalize on it. Interesting look by way with the boots. But unfortunately, Manny, he basically ate a kick, and then literally, as Matt dropped the knee on his head, ouch, it set him up for, of course, that corkscrew move, the lightning spiral, and Matt picks up the win. Talk about ridiculous torque on that finisher and the fold over to follow. Pretty much nobody's getting out of that. I did learn a lot about Manny here, except for he's got a bit of an amateur background to him. Apparently, he's been trained by Glacier, so that might account for something. I don't know if we're going to see any sort of Glacier type offense. I didn't see him like blow his hand up in his opponent's face, for example, but I wouldn't mind seeing more of him. And this was pretty okay. Again, it's hard to really, interpret, rate, and expect a wrestler when you don't know practically nothing about them. But again, AEW, they love to keep that suspension of disbelief going, because you don't know who could show up and break out eventually on AEW's Dark and Elevation platforms, as proven. Honestly, at this point, I'm just waiting for people like Lindsay Snow to show back up. And honestly, I would like to see Fuego del Sol to get his first win, but I digress. Going off a tangent. Anyway, good win for Matt Sydal. Anyways, we move on back to women's action. We have Jade Cargill, who again, jacked. She takes on I always screw up this name, Reka Tahaka, of course, with the Tongan background. And I was thinking this would be a good physical contest with attitude. Both these ladies demonstrating great strength and definitely bringing attitude. But unfortunately, it wasn't much of that because unfortunately, Miss Tahaka, she goes for a big pump kick, misses, and that's all Jade Cargill needed to capitalize on her finisher after already hitting a nice Samoan drop after catching her opponent. I like the fact that she's like all in, Miss Tahaka is, but again, she made one too many mistakes, and Jade made quick work of her as literally jaded, which is the name of that finisher that she does, planning her opponent. And literally, that's all this match wrote. A quick, simple win for Jade that continues to demonstrate confidence, of course, also being trained by Dustin Rhodes. But here's the real story here. Oh, by the way, hello, Kind of King. By the way, afterwards, as we continue to figure about Jade Cargill and her free agent status, who could represent her, who could elevate her, who could push her forward, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest attorney in professional wrestling, second to Joseph Park, it's Smart Mark Sterling. Smart Mark Sterling is back, and he offers his counseling, legal services, and advice to get Jade the big spots and the Ultimate Showcase and that big money, because the money is definitely made on Dynamite, and basically ask for 30 minutes of her time, gives her a card, and honestly, we literally might have just solved the setup for Jade Cargill. What I like about this is my friend Cindy G alluded to it, and please follow her at CindyC_OK on all your social media platforms. He also is involved on Impact Wrestling. As we think about this whole idea of Forbidden Door and who could step over between the two, and also the Virtuosa needs new competition too. Waiting for you, Killer Kelly. Jade Cargill and Dion Peraza program might be rather interesting, and Mark Sterling might be the bridge to making that happen because he has been on Impact Wrestling before. So I'm very curious if this actually does pan out to the point that Jade and Matt sign a legal agreement, segment-wise or not, or work or not, and actually become a thing. But overall, this was definitely the most intriguing part of the Jade Cargill showcase tonight to me on Elevation. I want to see more of what Tahaka can bring. Maybe she could take on someone like Big Swole, because I think that would be an awesome match. Anyway, moving on from there, it's a bit of a reprieve. I gotta say, so far, Dandy Jordan, Renee Michelle, VSK, Mary Perales, they definitely have continued to show me a little more as they try to bring more of a fight towards that first win here in AEW. I definitely have been impressed with them so far, and I hope to see more of them and continue to roll. As of course, during this time, we got the casino advertisement. Black and gold tables and graphics, make it happen. Make the casino app stand out. But I digress. I don't even get it. Anyway, as we move on from there, we go into tag team action as Matt Hardy, HFO in the house, with Mark Quan in casual attire, apparently wearing some sort of fancy shoes. I don't give a damn about fashion. I give a damn about wrestling. They take on nightmare-friendly prospects and standouts and graduates recently in Dean Alexander and Dylan McQueen. This was a pretty good back and forth match. Dylan McQueen receiving the blunt of the punishment, and of course, you had Mr. apparently 2 watches, Overkill, Isaiah Cassidy come into play here with a couple of distraction plays, and literally Dylan McQueen was at the mercy of these two, as it seemed like just a field day for Mark Quan especially, who did a nice poetry in motion. Anyway, as we literally find Dean Alexander get the hot tag, he tries to go for a little bit of offense and immediately gets shut down. Eventually, we find these two on the outside of the ring. Beautiful swanton bomb, though, by Mark Quan. I gotta give it to him. These guys, pride, they know how to fly. It's the thing. You literally almost be like hang time. But in the end, Matt Hardy, the leech, literally the leech, the move, it gets the win for the team and more money for them, as he literally has Alexander tap out or pass out in the middle of the ring. And the Hardy friendly offense continues to roll on. Interesting thought by Paul White, though. Of course, commentary was provided by Paul White and Tony Schiavone. Which one was the leech? Is Matt Hardy the leech, or is the leech the name of the move? Is a leech applying a leech? Yeah, you think about that. Because again, Matt Hardy leeching off Private Party and the investment he has with them. And of course, they're 30%. It's an interesting thought to think about. Anyway, as we move on from there, go back to women's action as Miss Rochelle Rose. She takes on #1 ranked, and of course, the good doctor, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, in singles action with Rebel in her corner. I get confused by that too. I like this Rochelle Rose and her attitude because she showcased that same moxie and confidence that Dr. Britt Baker always brings, to the point It kind of frustrated Britt Baker, but Britt Baker basically rebounded her off the ropes and then took her down by the hair and basically made her pay for it. Short work with a swinging neck breaker and then the stomp. And that was it. No lockjaw. Again, Britt Baker showing how confident she is, but also how much she brings to the table. And also, Shida, your days may be numbered. Her words. As literally the stomp, body press for the cover, and the smile, and another win. And she's getting it done. She keeps on racking them up. But again, at least Rochelle Rose's mouth must have been in good shape according to the dentist. She didn't get lockjaw, so that's something to say about. I kind of would want to see more serious contests with these two. I think they could go the distance. Anyway, you want to talk about more serious contests, though, that did showcase a little bit more from both and definitely some attitude. This next one definitely did. As Tai Conti took on Miss Maddie Wenzowski, a Thunder Rolls student standout for sure. I'm not just saying that because of her fashion. This was a very fierce and tenacious back and forth, as, of course, about respect, as Tai Conti always enters with. She goes into the ring with Maddie Wenzowski and thinks about, maybe a fist bump, but Maddie's like, nope, and literally tries to deck her. But of course, it's Tai Conti that decks her in the face. And literally, I like her style. Both these two are bringing a very good competitive fight. Tai Conti nearly going gaining control, of course, with those judo takeover arm drags. But Maddie Wenzowski, she brought the fight in the ropes and basically at one point, literally big scissor kick in between the ropes. Ouch. And it was this tenacity and fierce style from Maddie Wenzowski, basically, ground and pounding Tai Conti at one point, getting a nice near fall. But Maddie Wenzowski eventually finds herself suspended on the top rope, and Tai Conti, a little bit dangerous spot here, but she pulled it off. Ouch, ridiculous senton that literally just bent Maddie within that corner from the top rope down to the mat. But then there's a nice facebuster receipt by Maddie Wenzowski that gave her a nice near fall in this match. However, Tai Conti, she's pretty, she's got a fierce attitude, and she's one of the hottest running talents with great momentum for a reason in AEW. She gets it done, wrapping up Maddie Wenzowski finally for the Tai KO, and that's all she wrote. As Tai Conti continues to roll and says, too bad. But I'm sure she respected the fighting contest that Maddie Wenzowski bought. This was really good stuff brought by both. Maddie Wenzowski is one of those that really stands out on her own in more ways than one, but she shows to me that she really has no fear and is willing to take on the world to show why she is somebody to take seriously and somebody to consider. I don't mind seeing more of her in action. And Tai Conti, we know that she's coming off, of course, that loss to Kushida for the title, but definitely that's not going to stop her, and she's only going to continue to grow here. And again, only 4 years, folks. Only 4 years in the game. Unfreaking believable. Great stuff. Anyway, as we move on from there, we go backstage where Thunder Rosa basically talks about that move that she has there and that innovative choke and how she constantly brings hybrid style, technical, offensive. I can pin you, but I could also make you tap out. There you go. And then, of course, questions came across regarding her pursuits towards gold as she talks about Britt Baker, but gives her respect as she's earned it. She's gotten the wins. Now she has the chance, but she also has her eyes set on that prize, regardless who comes out of AEW Double or Nothing, as well as another prize. And I feel like she definitely has an eye more on this prize than anything else. She waits for Deeb, but she knows Deeb has our business too, and is trying to recover in time too. She awaits to once again challenge Serena Deeb, potentially for the NWA Women's Championship that she held over 200 and some odd days. The Thunder Rosa's got golden aspirations in her future. Double champion? I'm just saying. It can happen, folks. And Thunder Rosa is more than capable of obtaining and maintaining her status quo as both, I believe, AEW Women's and NWA Women's Champion. I would actually love to see that. But again, the sky's the limit. And I have a funny feeling that Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker is a match waiting to happen again, too. Sanctioned this time. But I digress. Anyway, get ready for some crazy unorthodox stuff now as we go into tag team action as Chaos Project, Luther and Serpentico, they take on Jurassic Express. I'm not saying the duo of Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy. And literally, what more is there to be said? Yeah, sorry if I saw something. Marco Stunt was literally used here as a crash test dummy, as Serpentico and Luther demonstrated their tag team offense, using Serpentico in every way possible as a weapon and a powerful just thing on top of him. Marco Stunt getting brutalized and punished here, but again, that's kind of his thing. Kudos to the young man enduring. Yes, folks, young man. I said it. Deal with it. It is what it is. Anyway, literally at one point, Tony Schiavone is just like, the man desperately needs to make a tag. And literally, I was like, I mean, he could, but hey, I don't mind Lufer and Serpentico just constantly squashing Marco Stunt in unique ways. And Serpentico's like, no, because Chaos Product is one of those teams where literally it's Lufer who uses Serpentico as a weapon, period, in every way whatsoever to try and beat his opponent. But there was one spot where Lady Serpentico was elevated on Lufer's shoulders. He was going to go for it looked like a swanton bomb, but ends up crashing and burning. And Marco Stunt finally tags out to Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy takes over. And literally, Jungle Boy basically puts the match into the team's favor to the point that Lufer is isolated on the outside. By the way, call the match here. Lufer is a guy that looks like he needs to be in a straitjacket. Nice one, Tony Schiavone. Anyway, Serpentico came so super close getting Jungle Boy at one point. That would have been a tremendous, huge win after countering some good offense here and packaging him in a roll-up. But in the end, Marco and Jungle Boy, they set him up where literally Jungle Boy has him over the shoulders, and Marco comes off the top rope with a swinging net breaker, dropping the man where he stands, and Marco Stunt pins Serpentico to give Jurassic Express the win, despite the fact Jurassic Express lost the tag eliminator last week. Again, Jurassic Express is one of the most win-ranked teams in AEW. They got one of the strongest win-loss records, believe it or not. And also, this ending was kind of a callback to how Jurassic Express beat FTR. You wonder if that's maybe a match or rematch to come, as Jungle Boy, of course, continues to stand out among so many here in AEW. Definitely one of my all-time favorite wrestlers and performers. And I gotta wonder at this point, though, as far as Lufer and Serpentico, what are you guys gonna do next? You're gonna go after Jurassic Express regarding this? You're gonna try and abduct Marco Stunt? I'm just curious which way, is Chaos Brothers just content in the way that they're doing things? Do they change anything up? I don't know. Chaos Brothers is one of those teams I'm just trying to figure out at this point. But hey, good stuff by Jurassic Express, whether you all are indifferent to Marco Stunt and his stature or not. Anyway, as we move on from there, join the Dark Order. We have Alex Reynolds renewing hostilities with the Hardy Family Office and somebody, I might add, who caused him a concussion, you might remember a while back, as Alex Reynolds takes on, also in casual wear, at least he took off the 2 damn watches, Isaiah Cassidy. And of course, in Alex Reynolds' corner was Johnny Hungy, still injured, by the way. Sorry, not clear to wrestle. And of course, we had the Hardy Family Office of Matt Hardy and Mark Juan in Isaiah Cassidy's corner. These two, by the way, though, their match definitely felt personal, and it felt like that a receipt was trying to be made here. And some point during this match, like once or twice, it seemed like Tony Schiavone's was like hanging or editing out or some point like that. I'm not sure if anyone else knows that. Botch, if that's the case. But anyway, Alex Reynolds brings some stiff offense in with a ridiculous discus forearm at one point for a nice fall. Matt Hardy, of course, gets involved, pushes him into the apron. As the plan here, Isaiah Cassidy definitely has been heavily influenced by Matt Hardy, as he's been much more of a calculated wrestler, focused on one body part here, and that was Alex Reynolds' back. That was worked on pretty much the entire match. As he tries to basically go for what kind of caused the concussion in the first place, as we go towards the end of this bed of affair, that top rope leg drop, he ends up busting his coccyx for his trouble, literally hitting the mat, and literally all hell breaks loose as the Hardy Family Office tries to get involved, and literally we find Isaiah Cassidy trying to use his belt for an object, not allowed, and literally it's Colt Cabana and John Silver who come into play, stopping without physically touching, the Hardy Family Office interfering, and the ref comes in just enough, and Alex Reynolds was aware enough to simply catch, amateur wrestling move, catch Isaiah Cassidy in a simple roll-up, and Alex Reynolds gets the win. A great win for the Dark Order, but it didn't come without some vengeance. As, of course, the Hardy Family Office, they came into play, assaulted them afterwards after taking out Colt Cabana, and of course, they already hindered John Silver on the outside. As John Silver did try to come and help his friend, it was Mark Juan that isolated John Silver, and Isaiah Cassidy make sure Colt Cabana was gone, as Matt Hardy literally added insult to injury, and literally hit Alex Reynolds with the leech, furthering damaging his back. And of course, nobody was there for the save for a long time. So in the end, this continued war with the Dark Order and Hardy Family Office continues. Dark Order wins the match. Hardy Family Office gets the last laugh. Where do we go from here? I think inevitably we're getting a big time match somehow to maybe close the book on this feud at AEW Double or Nothing. But we're going to have to wait and see. As we move on from there, we get more hype, of course, for the IWGP United States Championship match that's coming Wednesday between Death Rider and Blue Justice, Jon Moxley and Yuji Nagata, talking about how respect was first being shown, but Yuji Nagata calls Jon Moxley a punk. Ugh. So now respect thrown out the window as soon as that bell rings. And bottom line, next will be choked, fists will be thrown, and never say die. Of course, that Yuji Nagata lives by will truly be tested. For those that don't know Yuji Nagata, go to NJPWWorld.com. There's a free match on there. You should definitely watch Minoru Suzuki. Find matches with him against Hiroki Goto, Katsuyori Shibata, and even Hiroshi Tanahashi for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. And you will understand how much of a threat and how passionate and hard-hitting this guy is. This is going to be a match to remember, folks. Mark my words. Anyway, speaking of matches to remember, again, you got to figure about what Danny Limelight wants to represent, what he demonstrates, and what he is as in our main event. The Rey at the Papi, NJPW Strong showcasing him for about two. Danny Limelight took on Jon Moxley, who came out with the IWGP United States Championship. And this was a very competitive bout. I gotta say this. Aubrey, of course, was the referee here. I wonder what match Aubrey's gonna ref this Wednesday on Dynamite with 3 championship matches. Just saying. Anyway, as Danny Limelight was in the early going here, showing up his moves and basically momentum on his side, Jon Moxley didn't like that. Got momentum on his side with his hard-hitting offense too, and also showboat some of his own. Again, you don't take Jon Moxley lightly, and you certainly don't try to play mind games with Jon Moxley. Anyway, as this match continued moving on, at one point we get what's being called the sinus cleaner. Thanks, Paul White. As Jon Moxley was in firm control with a ridiculous kick to the spine of Danny Limelight. Ouch. As these two continued trading bombs at one point, Jon Moxley literally rotating Danny Limelight 360 with a lariato, run for lariato. And the match was firmly in Jon Moxley's favor until Danny Limelight comes back into control with a nice enziguri inside the head, some stiff hitting offense, and literally big high knee lift. And then following that, as Jon Moxley outside the ring, Danny Limelight got speeding, flies over the top rope with a beautiful corkscrew ... dive. High risk, high reward paying off. As he isolates Jon Moxley in the ring and falls up with a beautiful off the top rope overhead blockbuster for the near fall. Imagine if he actually won this match. That would have been literally giving him a chance at the IWGP United States Championship, I think. But in the end, biting, literally taking a piece out of the man in this fight, Jon Moxley did, and innovating again that paradigm shift, the double underhook DDT, also known as Death Rider. From the second rope, the paradigm shift dropped Danny Limelight once for all in what was probably one of the most competitive matches of the night. And literally, Jon Moxley rose in momentum ahead of Dynamite, winning the match 1, 2, 3. But Danny Limelight again continues to show why he does this, and he can go with the best of them. And again, I would not mind seeing these two face each other again. And that was your AEW Dark Elevation. I must say, all 5 women matches, they brought it. Definitely, I was impressed with more of the non-signed talents here tonight than last week as they continue to elevate their game on their pursuit of not only winning the first match in AEW, but continuing their growth and mastering their careers moving forward in the wrestling business. And again, it's just a nice, fun, opportunistic showcase and respect to wrestling. Pro wrestling, independent wrestling, whatever the heck you want to call it, up and coming wrestling, just enjoy wrestling. That's all that should matter when you watch shows like this. And Elevation was proof of that tonight because who knows, you keep watching these people, they can have a big breakout moment. You continue to follow them and see where they go. A lot of them have huge potential. I truly believe that. With that being said, I really enjoyed this show, but let's go ahead and look ahead at what's to come this week in AEW. As tomorrow night, we have AEW Dark. I would like to thank Fightful, by the way, who so far has the following matches now known, 11 of them, for tomorrow night's show. We will have Varsity Blondes taking on Jalen Bradlin and Trayvon Jordan. Lance Archer will destroy Age of Fashion. Jungle Boy takes on the Moth, Marty Cassius, Lucha Underground for life. Ryan Namath and Cesar Bononi with Pretty Prevalent JD Drake take on Liam Gray and AJ Alanis, a tag team that's definitely really moving forward, in my opinion. The Factory with Anthony Gogo takes on Jake Logan, Risen, and Rick Recon. Hey, Risen's back. Brian Cage with Hook takes on Bear Bronson. Diamante takes on Willow Nightingale. Big Swell and Red Velvet take on the MK Twins. Powerhouse Hobbs with Hook takes on Mike Seidel. John Moxley and Eddie Kingston will take on the duo Milk Chocolate. And Nyla Rose will take on Ashley D'Ambrose. And the Acclaim, Matt Caster and Emily Bowens will take on Joey Janela and Sunny Kiss. And that is what's known so far for AEW Dark for this time of recording. And as you all know, stacked championship showcase coming up this week on AEW Dynamite. We will have SCU going after, and basically they are defending one thing, their tag team career. All or nothing, period. SCU takes on the Young Bucks for the AEW Tag Team Championships. We have Darby Allin, who I'm sure is not going to be 100%, taking on, of course, Miro for the TNT title. There will be an interview with Jade Cargill, and we will also have Orange Cassidy take on Pac to see who takes on Kenny Omega for the AEW World Championship at Double or Nothing. Cody will have an announcement regarding what's happening to him at Double or Nothing. I'm pretty sure I got an idea. And I feel what should really close the show, and what definitely is the match I'm looking forward to the most, Death Rider John Moxley defends the IWGP United States Championship against Yuji Nagata Blue Justice, former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. And we will see all that and more for sure coming up this week in AEW. And that's your AEW Dynamite Outlook as of right now. With that being said, folks, what did you enjoy about Elevation? What did you enjoy about AEW? First time, newcomer, all-time fan? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below. If you want to have a more rational conversation with me, know this. I'm just a simple fan and a lifelong fan. And man, I'm tired of ... wrestling. So follow me on Twitter at mfoster1916, Instagram at mfoster1916, YouTube and Foster1916, or the URL is youtube.com/C/MilFoster10 for all things wrestling. And shout out to my W family on Twitter. I am now on summer vacation and my work hours no longer go for evening, so expect content every day, including but not limited to NXT UK, my favorite WWE brand, NWA, always AEW, and NJPW stuff too, as I wait to see what the state of Grand Slam is at this point. And maybe Ring of Honor as well. It all depends on time and stamina, because I still have to work, of course, too. As always, folks, let to close. There are no winners, there are no losers, there are no bears. They're just fans with their own outlooks for this passion we all share. At the end of the day, support one another, respect each other, and just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. Simple as that. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, comment, and tell a friend. Hit the bell on the next video goes on this channel, and hit subscribe button. Help me keep going on this channel. Shout out to all 201 for this with me on this fun YouTuber creator's journey. Is not being anytime soon, and now that summer's here, you'll be getting a lot more content from me too. I promise. Maybe I'll come back with live Q&A as well. But until next time, stay tuned for ATW views. Stay tuned to No DQ, Cindy G, Teddy Turnbuckle, Team All Elite, Team NJPW, NWA, and so much more too. And I'm just going to bid you all a fine adieu. Take care. Enjoy life. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Enjoy your families and enjoy wrestling. There's more of it now than ever. Find somebody, some promotion, some friend, some person, some rival if you want to too. Challenge virtue, I dare you. And make wrestling your own fun passion too. And until the next video, I just hope you all be safe and have a wonderful night. Thanks for tuning in. As always, support AEW. And if you haven't already, check out AEW Dynamite. Bye, folks.